Do you want the best possible helicopter settings in Battlefield 6 that will make aiming a breeze to give you pinpoint precise tracking and aiming? Today I want to show you and teach you how to utilize an extremely powerful control scheme from Battlefield 4 called rifle aim. In a nutshell, what this control scheme does is it swaps the yaw and roll binds from the keyboard to the mouse. To better explain this, the standard Battlefield aircraft controls consist of pressing A and D on the keyboard to yaw, aka turn left and right. Rolling the helicopter left and right is done with the mouse. Pitching up and down, aka looking up and down, is also done with the mouse. What rifle aim does is it makes turning with the mouse and rolling with the keyboard. This will give you complete control over the helicopter's turning speed, which in turn gives you complete control over the speed that you'll be able to aim. On default, you will need to lightly tap A and D or utilize roll to maximize precision. On this scheme, you just need to move your mouse like you would move your mouse with a gun. First thing I will do is show you how to set up the most vital settings for this control scheme, and its basic fundamentals. Once done, I will then show you how to use this control scheme. One of the biggest complaints I get about rifle aim is people simply not being able to adjust to it, and for the most part, it is usually because they are trying to brute force it instead of breaking it down into smaller steps. Alright, so I've booted the game. On the top right corner, you want to go to the settings cogwheel, go to mouse and keyboard on the left, go to helicopter pilot keybinds and hit edit. Now, for the sake of this video, I've reset everything just to help you step by step on how to actually set up these binds. First thing you want to do is clear all the yaw and roll binds. You just click on the slot and hold escape. And do that for your right and your left. Same thing for roll. And for the mouse, it should do both when you, works. And you also want to get rid of heli assist, ascend and descend. These are just something you shouldn't rely on whatsoever. Alright. The first step, this is how it should look with you as well. Just all these 4 binds and these 8 binds here should be clear. First thing you want to do is go to your right on the mouse category. Click on it and drag your mouse to the right. You can just overwrite these, doesn't matter, just hit bind anyway. It will automatically assign them to both. For roll right and roll right you want to press on that one and hit D. For roll left, A. And this is literally it. This is rifle aim right here. You do not need to do anything else, you've just set up rifle aim. Now this is the base foundation of it. What I like to do, personally, now this is where it comes to very preference here. I like to, on your right, also add space and left control for your left. This to me just helps me in some situations where I want to do a really sharp turn and not have to move my mouse around, or if I'm in the middle of aiming, I just want to quickly turn and aim again. Now this is completely not necessary. I just have this because it's how I like it, and I've gotten very used to using default from Battlefield 4. And this just lets me sort of use the best of both worlds, if that makes sense. A lot of pilots will also like to use these binds but on pitch up and pitch down instead. Again, this part is entirely up to you. This is just, as long as you just basically have the mouse on your right and your left, that is essentially rifle aim. There are some people who even overlap double binds on certain things. But again, this part's up to you. This is just the base foundation of rifle aim and how I use it. Now you want to hit escape. Go into gameplay on the left. Click on vertical look settings and hit edit. Now, I have this personally set to off. By default, this is on. This is just in vertical flight. When using rifle aim, I highly recommend turning this off for the reason being that because it now almost all controls to your mouse in terms of your aiming, it just makes it feel more natural as if you were aiming a gun. And I just find it is much better long-term to have this off. If you want to have this on, up to you, but I just personally will highly recommend turning this one off. Hit escape again. Scroll down until you find the helicopter control assist setting here. Make sure this is off. Helicopter control sensitivity, you want to max this out at 200. The reason why you want to max this out at 200 is this adjusts the sensitivity of the helicopter controls themselves. So, because we've now moved your right and your left to the mouse, it just helps it feel way more responsive and less like there's sort of like input acceleration. So what I like to do is set this up to max, and then individually modify my actual mouse aim sensitivity. Have this as like a base, and then change this as you like. This is for jets, and this is for controllers. This is the only one that you really want to modify if you're on PC. So, I play at 3200 DPI at 3.5 in-game. This is very preference. Now, the reason why I'm saying this doesn't really matter too much, as you get better with flying, you'll notice that, for the most part, a lot of your aim and movement is greatly tied to how you control your momentum. I just think you should pick something that is of something reasonable. So anything between like 20 to 40 centimeters I think is really nice. But again, it is entirely up to you. I just highly recommend using something that you like and not copying anybody. Now, these next settings I'm going to give you are not necessary. All of these tend to do is just improve the visibility and quality of life. If this does interest you though, stay tuned. Pretty much you want to go into the accessibility tab, go to color profiles, and change the enemy color to a more vibrant color. Like, by default, it's sort of like an orange in this game, and I've set it to more of like a full solid red. It just makes it pop out more when you're spotting people and just doesn't blend in with the environment as much. These are all completely customizable. You can do what you want here. The next settings that I like changing are in the HUD category. I set all the infantry and vehicle HUD motions and all those things to off. Horizontal HUD padding, I've set this to max. What this does is it just brings all the HUD elements closer to the center. I just like the way it looks. I like being able to like really glance at the minimap faster. It just sort of helps keep everything in peripheral vision. Again, preference thing, not entirely necessary. I just like to do it. I like to also set the minimap size to large. I don't really feel like it changes the size of the minimap that much, to be honest with you, but, you know, may as well get the best out of it as much as I can. Next, in graphics settings, I have the world brightness and sharpness up a little bit. Just helps with a bit of sharpness and visibility with brightness. You scroll down, you want to set vehicle third-person field of view to the max. This just helps a lot when you're going into third person, just lets you see a lot more. I also have things like the motion blurs, camera shake, and these extra effects off. Again, these are all just to help visibility. Go to graphics quality settings. Now, I have all these set to low and off, except texture quality and filtering. Texture filtering just basically makes things look a bit sharper. Texture quality is just to make things look nicer and more detailed. Now, I personally don't find these affect the performance of my PC very much at all and my frame rate. This obviously will vary from system to system. This is just what I like using. As long as most of it, if not all of it, is set to low and off, the game will look worse, but it will get rid of a lot. For example, mesh in particular, it will get rid of a lot of grass and foliage and all different things like that, so it'll just make it a lot easier to spot people, but it will make your game look worse. So, to add on to that, basically, in the advanced tab on the graphics, I use anti-aliasing off. This will make your game look quite ugly, but it will just make it so much easier to see things, in my opinion. Again, not necessary at all. This is just if you really want to sweat it out and take maximum advantage of visibility. The rest I just have low and off. And yeah, pretty much that's what I recommend setting up if you want to really take advantage of a couple of things. Alright, so I've headed into a game now, and I wanted to quickly show you guys how to actually get used to using rifle aim step by step. This is an empty server I have created. This is my test range. If you want to have access to this, I'll put a link to the video in the description. The reason why I'm not posting the code directly is because the code will keep changing, so it's best that I just link you to the video and how to actually get into it. When you click host, hit host locally, this will bypass the server cap, so you'll be able to get into your own custom server. Now, this is just an empty server. I'll just head into one of these helicopters and tell you how to get started. I've also enabled a keyboard overlay to show you exactly what keys I'm pressing. The first thing you want to do, quite literally, just press W and S. Just fly up and down. Do not touch the mouse. Don't touch anything else. Just W and S. Get used to just flying up and down and getting used to this, okay? Once you do, just move the mouse. So all I'm doing here is pressing W and S and moving the mouse. I am not touching any other key. Just WS, moving the mouse. I'm just pressing C to go into third person first. Just get used to this. Just get used to moving your mouse and aiming and moving like this. It'll feel awkward at first, but just get used to this, okay? Just fly around and get used to just... You basically have to keep telling yourself, I now move with the mouse. And it might sound weird, but you just have to literally keep telling yourself and convincing yourself you are now moving with the mouse. You are not using the keyboard to roll. All mouse and just W and S. You can see I'm not pressing any other keys on my keyboard. Once this gets comfortable and you get used to the way that this feels, start incorporating roll. Now, you can use this lightly. So just do light taps like this. For example, I'll just be flying around. You can see me lightly tapping A and D. And I'm just moving my mouse gently. That's all I'm doing. Just get used to doing this. And slowly you'll get used to combining all these together, and it will feel way more natural to aim and move around and do all the things that you want to do. Now, a tip for rifle aim is, because you now have control over the speed that you turn entirely, so I can choose to turn at this speed, right? Or this speed, or any speed that I want up to the speed cap. A lot of things that people will do, a habit that people will do, is they'll try to move the mouse faster than what the game actually lets them, like the vehicle cap. So if I were to drag my mouse really fast and hard right now, see how it, like, this is me just swiping the pad, the mouse across the pad. You can see how it, like, is kind of slow. If I were to move it, though, at the speed that the heli actually lets me turn, I'm able to move really quickly and responsively. So you have to basically move the mouse at the cap of the heli's turning speed. If you did those extra binds that I did, you can see when I press left control and space, it also turns the heli. You can sort of use this as a benchmark to know how quickly you can turn the mouse. So you hold left control, that's how fast I'm turning. You sort of want to match that with your mouse, if that makes sense. So try not to move the mouse above the turning speed of the heli is one big piece of advice I can give you. Something to quickly keep in mind, because all portal servers are on 30 Hz, the sensitivity, like your mouse sensitivity, is actually a lot faster than what it would be on the regular base servers. So a good piece of advice is if you want to make it feel the same, in a portal server, half your sensitivity, and then in just the main game, just put it back to normal. If you want to make the sense feel the same. Because for some reason, with 30 Hz, it does make vehicle sensitivity feel different. They are planning to change portal servers to 60 Hz, and when this happens, hopefully soon, it'll obviously make this feel a lot more consistent between games. For those who are on default and are skeptical to swap to rifle aim, if it helps with some perspective, I used default for 7 years in Battlefield 4. After swapping to rifle aim, my aim got such a high level of being able to quite easily cross-map targets with the miniguns of the scout heli. It made tracking so easy and made dueling 10 times more powerful. Movement at first was harder and took more time, but it gets to a point where things will click and movement will feel the same again. But I can say for sure tracking and precision gets a huge upgrade in the long run. To really speed up the process of movement, try doing stunts in helicopters like flying under bridges or in small gaps. I found that helped me with movement a lot faster. But the most important thing, I'd say, is to stick with it and just be patient. It is so incredibly powerful for aiming. As always, you guys take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.